Okay, YouTube, this is going to be a fun video. So this is going to be the top 10 most desirable items at a estate sale. This is probably goes for garage sales, flea markets. I personally own a estate sale company, so I see the trends. I see what they're lining up for. I'm sure you've been to sales, right? There's a ton of people online. Everybody's kind of trying to fly in and go towards certain things, certain items. So I get to see the trends, so it's pretty cool, right? So I'm actually going to work my way back. I'm going to start from 10, so the least desirable. And when I say desirable, that doesn't mean it doesn't have value, because I'm going to probably shock you with some things here. But the stuff that people just aren't really going towards, but still has a ton of value. So this is going to be a great video so you can learn what's kind of overlooked that maybe you could start going for and get at a low value. So I'm just going to start off with number 10, and it's going to be pretty shocking, especially to my Instagram and Facebook friends, my reselling friends. I'm going to say clothing. Clothing is probably the most undervalued. You know, I work in these upscale homes, and some of the clothing's amazing. Designer names. And it's kind of interesting. You know, I see retail people, so regular people just coming in and actually trying things on and see if it fits or this, that. That's a different kind of market. So I'll sell a few pieces here and there. But not too often do I see resellers coming for clothing, which is interesting. I'm in New Jersey. I'm right by Manhattan. So, you know, very densely populated area. And it's probably the least desirable thing at my sales, you know? So, clothing. And obviously, as you know, there's a ton of value in clothing. And because it's so undesirable, if you go to an estate sale, you're going to get a good deal on clothing, because, you know, my job as a estate sale seller, owner, I'm working for the homeowner, so my job is to clear the content. So I'm willing to make deals, you know, especially on clothing, because not too many people are interested. So I'll push out a ton of clothing for cheap. So clothing. All right. Number 9, I'll say books. Books, because I personally also resell books on Amazon FBA. I just started that last year, and I did excellent. And I'm talking about half-ass effort, because I'm so busy doing so many other things. The books have I did over 50K in just books. Some CDs are now gated, so, you know, forget the CDs now, but books alone are amazing. I mean, you could go to a sale, garage sale, buy a book for a quarter, sell it for $200-300. It's amazing return on investment, right? So when I say books, I'm talking about media, CDs, DVDs. Probably one of the most overlooked. Now, people do come and buy in bulk, but you could still get really good deals on books if you go to sales. I mean, plenty of times, me personally, if I'm a little slow and I have time, I'll go to an estate sale on my own to buy, to resell. And I go second, third day to sale, and there's still some amazing books. So I'll say books. Books or media, okay? All right. Number 8, art. So art is interesting, right? Everybody thinks, you know, you look at a painting and you say, you know, this could be worth $1 million, right? Or it could be worth $1. So art is kind of interesting. I think people like to buy it to resell, but you're so unsure. Even me as a estate sale owner, art is just very hard to find. You know, of course the names are always scribbled so small. It's a tough. You really need to know your stuff. But you could buy art so cheaply, and again, it's overlooked unless it's something amazing. People just don't know if they should buy it. They're unsure, right? Is it a good piece? Is it not a good piece? So it's worth making it, you know, making an offer and just buying and taking a shot. Because art has that funny thing where it could be something huge, you know? So I'll put art, number 8. Number 7, musical instruments. This is big because musical instruments are just there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. There's the collectible ones, so vintage, antique instruments are very collectible. People like to display them, collect them, whatever, and use them. But then you got newer instruments that people are actually really using, you know? So Instruments are very. I get a lot of calls. Do you have musical instruments? This, that. So that's a great one to look out for. All right. So musical instruments. All right. Number 6, toys. Vintage toys, trains. They come flying in for it, right? So now we're working our way down to the most popular, right? So number 6, I'll say toys. Get a lot of calls. Do you have any old toys? This, that. Even if they're rusted, even if they're beat up. One of my biggest scores, I bought a bunch of old trains, and I'm talking about beat to shit. I knew they were good. I wasn't sure what they were. They actually had no name on them. So that's a little tip. When you're looking for old toys, old trains, not everything has to have a name on it, because sometimes they didn't even put a name on it. But I bought this bag. It came in like this shopping bag of old trains for $100. All right. It ended up selling at a toy auction. Actually, the guy is on Antiques Roadshow. He owns a antique auction, antique toy auction in Pennsylvania. Anyway, it did about $3,800. Now minus percentage, I got back around $3,000, but $100 investment. So toys are huge. Always look for toys, vintage toys, even if they're beat up. Make an offer, take them, and look them up later. All right. So toys. All right. Number 5, military. Military is always huge. Obviously, the earlier you get, the better you get in any of these categories, right? So Civil War, World War I, World War II. I just had an interesting sale. I had some World War II propaganda stuff. We had some old knives, some patches are really good. You know, the arms, the bands that go around the arms. You know, any stuff like that. Military toys are really good. Even some paperwork. You know, I didn't put paperwork. There's a lot of things I'm probably missing on here. But anything old that has advertisement on it, anything old that has, you know, especially talking about the war, this, that, photos, black and white photos are excellent. So military is huge. I get a ton of calls. I get a ton of calls on this kind of stuff. Military. Number 4, tools. So any kind of tools. Vintage, antique, even new tools obviously still sell. So that's like kind of a market where it's all over the place, right? But you got to take a chance while you're out and about. And I really want to talk about niches. You know, so I know some of you are only doing clothing, only doing books. This is really why I'm doing this video. So while you're out and about, you could kind of expand your horizons, and you might as well take a good look while you're out there. You know, go after your niche, get whatever you have to get, put it in the car, and come back. Write this list down, take a little look, you know. This could bring you some serious money, so you might be passing stuff up because you're kind of going after your thing, buying it and leaving, you know. But you really, you know, when you go through a house, there's always something left over. Even if it's the second, third day, you just take your time and really dig through. Okay? So number 3, mid-century modern. Mid-century modern is huge right now. So furniture, lamps, even down to like kitchenware, like cool old glassware. You know, just Google it. I mean, it's amazing the prices I'm getting on furniture. Anything made in Denmark, Danish, teak, rosewood, excellent. I mean, excellent. You know, high return on investment if you could get it cheap. I just had somebody. I have a little store. I just had somebody come pick up a piece of furniture. It was a little teak dresser I bought for $50. Sold it for $350. Sold it on eBay, by the way. Another quick tip, a lot of people don't know you can sell furniture on eBay, because if you put local pickup, or in the description write will ship, but leave it up to the buyer. You don't want to deal with that part. Let them deal with the freight or a company coming to pick it up. But many times people will actually come and do local pickup. So it works. All right? So where am I? So mid-century. So modern furniture, mid-century. Number 2, we're working our way down to the most popular, hottest items. Number 2 is records. Records, LPs. I mean, the guys come flying in for this stuff, okay? Guys, girls, it's amazing. You know, the records are making a huge comeback. Probably oversaturated at this point, but they're still buying them up. So I actually raised my record prices because the thing is, it's so hard to know records. They're really niche, you know, and I don't have time to go through. If I have 1,000 records at a home, so the first day I'll start a little higher and then second day I'll drop it. Because, you know, these pickers are good. They'll come through and they'll scan through that pile and grab the best pieces and leave you with the junk, right? But the interesting thing about records is everybody kind of has their own style. So people buy it to listen to or to resell. Obviously, classic rock is going to be your number 1. If you're at a sale and you don't know records, just make a deal for the whole pile, especially if it's classic rock. Any stuff, you know, stuff like that, you just want to buy the whole thing and then deal with it when you get home. You'll probably get one record that'll get your money back, right? So records, LPs. Vinyl. Now, number 1. This is pretty exciting, right? So number 1, the number 1 thing that I have people coming to the sales and flying towards when I have it on the table is jewelry. Now, why jewelry? It's going to make a lot of sense. Gold, silver, even though silver right now, the price is not so great, but gold is excellent. So gold is literally, it's liquid cash, right? So they could buy it at my sale. Now, I happen to know my stuff, but now if you go to a garage sale, flea market, and estate sale where people don't know their stuff, you may get lucky, you may score, you know what I mean? So they may be putting out a pile of costume jewelry, but there's a ton of gold in there. So people really gravitate towards any costume jewelry. Usually that's the first thing they're going for because, again, they can buy it by me, take it right to a jeweler, and make instant cash, right? So that's the thing about gold and silver. Now, costume jewelry, it's a whole nother monster, right? I have a ton of dealers that are doing excellent on Etsy and sites like that, buying costume jewelry. So vintage jewelry, antique jewelry, I mean, it always does really, really well. So gold, silver, obvious, but maybe not for you, because again, maybe you're only going after records, you're only going after clothing, and you're flying into a sale and looking at that, but you may be missing. So, you know, gold, silver, costume, this kind of jewelry, you just want to be there first. You want to be at that table. And again, on any of this kind of stuff, I'm just going to recommend buying in bulk. If you have the funds, if it looks old, you know, if you're in this long enough, you'll know what you're looking for. But if it looks old, it looks interesting, you just want to try to buy it in bulk because, you know, a little tip is now I'm an estate sale owner, so I know my stuff. It's going to be hard to get over on me, but it's a business. Listen, you may go to a garage sale. If somebody put $1 on something and it's worth $1,000, you paid them what they asked, right? So, you know, it's okay. It's okay to haggle. It's okay to get a deal. This is what we're here for, right? We're in business to buy and resell for a maximum profit, right? So I suggest to buy in bulk because you're not going to be able to go through, you know, a couple hundred records. But if it's cheap enough, you may not be able to go a whole box of jewelry, you know, dig through. Just, you know, ask how much for the whole pile. You never know. Maybe a few bucks, maybe outrageous. If it's outrageous, then you take your time and you go through it. So this is my top 10. You know, again, I'm doing sales every weekend. I see what's happening. I see the trends. It's kind of interesting because during the week, I'm out and about thrifting or I'm at estate sales. So it's kind of fun to see the trends, you know. So listen, I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe. You know, I'm new to this. I'm going to keep putting out videos. And I thank you so much, okay?